Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. Fran, you're joining me yet again.
Hey, Guardians.
Sean's also joining me yet again.
Hello, everyone.
And you guys are joining all of us to talk about Destiny. This week, we're talking about some Destiny 2 delay rumors or an article that we read about.
Rumor mill's a churning.
We'll get a little bit more into that later. We're going to talk about the Bungie update about Crimson Doubles and the Valentine's Day event in the Tower. And we're going to talk about Rift being a part of Iron Banner and how we feel about it. Before we get to that, Fran, you have a story you really want to tell.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm putting some people on blast.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you why. I was playing a ton of Trials last weekend, and some of you may have run into this strategy out there. But what I want to talk about is the worst ways, one of the worst ways in particular, this one, to play Crucible, and Trials. Like, really lame strategy. You guys may have seen this. Defender Titans using bubbles, creating orbs for each other, all three of them, dressed in hot pink, shotgun, chaperones. Just really obnoxious. So we already knew, like, bunch of tryhards, but then they were all using bubbles. So knew where this was going. I was playing with some good friends that I've been playing with recently, Toxic and Clickit. Clickit actually plays with Goth for PvE, I think, but I play a ton of Crucible with him.
So he hops in you hop in his backpack.
And let me set the record straight too. Like, I am not great at Trials. I've gotten a lot better playing with these guys and playing a lot. In fact, that's what I've been focusing on, is just like getting better, because I've just never been a PvP gamer. And the reaction time, the muscle memory, etc. It takes a long time. Whatever the case, get in a match with these guys. These guys' names are like Hank Beist, Ninja X70, Ninja X6792, and Nick at the Drive-In, I believe. So you guys suck. You may have just been having some fun, but it really sucks to ruin someone's Trials experience, right?
What happened?
And so here's what happened. They're doing all that, and what's happening is you're creating bubbles for each other. So you constantly have a bubble. Bubble for res, bubble for the spawn, or the capture point once you go overtime. So very hard to beat them. We did get close. I think it was even like 4-4 or 4-3 in the end. So we got close, but it was very difficult to do. But the amazing part, and it was just a little bit of revenge that we had, the part that I wanted to tell in particular, after calling them out, did this amazing thing where they're up on the canopy last week, if you remember, and they had two bubbles up. Both my teammates are down, Clickit and Toxic, like a no-hope type situation, or so it seemed. And I start jumping up towards the canopy, and, I'm a warlock, so I can hover quite a bit, and I'm starting to, like, capture the revive. And I was actually able to, like, hover up and just barely grab onto it, and I rezzed Toxic in their bubble, and they, like, were looking down at me. They were, like, all confused, and I think we have some footage of it right here. And Toxic just goes into Stormcaller mode, blasts them, chases the one guy who, like, runs away, doesn't know what's happening. They still won the overall, because that was only our third match, but that felt good.
That was a fun moment.
And the message here is, like, please don't play Trials like that. Even if you're having fun, you're ruining some people's experiences. There's another strategy that people really hate, is like playing with Voidfang Warlocks. You can run out with the Firebolt and burn, and you get 3 of those on a team if you're grouped up, and you die really fast. But just don't play that way. Like, if you're knowingly being cheap, don't win the game that way. It's just shameful. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting.
I'm curious, what do you guys think of playing? I think Destin's like, I play this way.
I kind of think what they did was fine. They're running 3 bubble Titans.
That's what I was gonna say,
there's
man.
nothing wrong with that. It's a strategy
that the game allows. That's what you're going to say.
If it's the winning strategy, there's nothing wrong, right? Whatever you can do to
win. So
win.
you do support this?
I don't support it. Like, I would
you sleep at night if you did it?
No, but I mean, at the same time,
that's not how I play. But if they're serious enough to get 3 Defender Titans, like, hey, we want to win Trials, we're going to do the Defender Titan strat. Let's do it. It's a strategy.
I mean, I've definitely run that in Iron Banner Crucible before. 6 Titans. Everyone runs bubble, and then it's impossible for the other team to win. Everyone just sits inside of 3 bubbles.
It's shameful.
Like, that way, even if they super your bubble, there's still another bubble
but see,
or 2 more bubbles.
But doesn't, people who just sit back and team shot, like, yes, all those strategies you can do, but don't you find it, like, my message is, and again, I'm not great at it, but don't play that way. I would rather lose than, sit back, camp, team shot, whatever it is, because I don't know, it's just lame. But
I get it. You're right.
I can understand
it is lame,
both sides.
But at the same time, it's like, remember when so this has happened in other sports before, like not just video games, but like back in the day, the Spurs, for NBA people out there, they got really criticized for when they just hacked Shaq all the time, right? They said it's better that we foul Shaq and make him shoot free throws than we just let him dunk on us all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And they beat the Lakers doing that, just fouling Shaq and making him shoot free throws, and he'd always miss because he sucks at free throws. And they were like, well, it's not against the rules, but that's really stupid. And now it is against the rules just to do that. They changed the game because of that. But at the time, I don't blame him, man. How well you just gonna let Shaq win? Like, just let him beat you? No, of course not. You're gonna use whatever you can to beat him, and that strat is viable. So
this is part of why I brought this up. I knew there would be some support. Like, look, the game allows it, so use whatever strategy is out there. It's up to us then to figure out how to like defend against that problem. But I think it's super lame.
I can understand why it would like ruin your experience, but I imagine the other team, like, they're really serious. They're like, man, we want to go in. We really want to go 9-0 in trials. Like, we know this strategy with Titans and Bubbles. It's really lame, but I mean, like, I'm sure they didn't just use the bubble strat. I'm sure they also had skill. You know, to be able to defeat you.
They knew what they were doing.
So, I mean, this is a well-oiled machine of a team that you were fighting against also.
It's just it's a crappy way to play. And honestly, for me, when I play games like that, it's not fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, and so maybe the message is actually more like, Bungie, you know, we need some help on stuff like this. You're always going to have stuff like this, but I think that's where Destiny is pretty unique with all the powers and stuff. You get some really annoying situations in trials, especially, where things are just OP. It was like Thorn. Like, going back to that, actually, I wonder if we could smash cut to footage of you guys saying how much you hate Thorn and they need to fix it, because
I've never said that.
Okay, so you supported Thorn.
I never said I hate Thorn either.
Thorn supporters.
I have on the record said that I think the most balanced Destiny PvP has ever been was the Thorn Last Word era.
Yeah. It was pretty
That's
good.
your favorite. So anyway, I see which side of the wall you guys are on. But,
this is a good segue. This is actually a good segue to the Valentine's Day update from the Tower. So from the Bungie Weekly update, they said, in the world of Destiny, the Guardians will be celebrating the rare variety of companionship that can only be found in the heat of battle. You're invited to the Tower to partake in the real party, a ritual known by the brave as Crimson Days. Then on the multiplayer side, Crimson Doubles. It features a special twist born of new gameplay and mechanics that only battle-tested star-crossed lovers will appreciate. You'll need a dancing partner, preferably one that complements your fighting style. The two of you will have a chance to earn some sweet loot together in the Crucible to receive your gifts. You'll have to put your differences aside and fight well as a couple. Now, Sean, you said that you have to pick different classes. I didn't see that.
No. I didn't say you have to pick different classes. It sounds to me like the language hints that it's better if you do, though, right? It says you'll need a dancing partner, preferably one that complements your fighting style. I guess you could have another, if you're a warlock and you
just
could play
like
another
trials.
warlock
different
that plays
classes
different.
At least.
Yeah, or different classes,
I'm going to be a Titan and play with a Titan. And then we're just going to sit in
Defender
bubbles,
bubble.
and you can come to us.
There you go.
You can come
and
to
get
us.
a little
then
kiss from my chaperone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like, I don't know, it seems really interesting. We know nothing about what this mode is going to be, but it says new gameplay and new mechanics. Like, that's super interesting to me. Like, I wonder how this is different than just regular doubles.
Yeah, that for me was unresolved. And this is coming out the week of Valentine's Day,
February 9th.
Yeah,
is what
exactly,
they said,
because it falls on a weekend, Valentine's Day, so it's before that. But that's the whole theme. But yeah, that's the unresolved part. Is there's just no specific details. Like, is it literally just a classic 2v2, or is it control? Or is it going to be like Trials and there's a card?
Well, let's wildly speculate with no information.
That's why we're here, folks.
Yeah.
That's the theme of today's podcast.
The tower looked really pretty.
I mean, it says
with all the rose petals.
It says it features a special twist born of new gameplay and mechanics that only battle-tested Starcross lovers will appreciate. So what?
Platforming.
But I mean, that's what I'm thinking is like...
Destin, hold my hand. We need to jump across this
The
chasm.
Starcross lovers things makes me think like... you get an overshield or something when you're next to your teammate. So it encourages you to stay together the whole time. Like and something like that.
You see mechanics like that in the raid, actually. So that's not
where you're tied
like
together.
Crazy.
That's what I was thinking.
So I am hoping it is something, more special. They really didn't say. I think they need an update for next week to talk about something. And they're stretching it out like we're seeing. But that's interesting. It's funny. I had a game mode that I wanted to have be this way, which I was calling. I haven't come up with the final name, but basically,
Bubble
it's
Brothers.
No, that was what happened in Trials. I call those guys the Bubble Brothers or girls. I had this idea of hot potato golden gun, which the idea was it's 2v2. and one person in the match always has a golden gun.
Oh my
maybe
God.
limited bullets or something, or maybe your health doesn't regen as that person. Whatever the case, I'm the golden gun, and you're my partner, but then there's two out there basically trying to kill me. Whoever gets the kill, you get the golden gun. So
okay.
I don't think that's going to be, obviously. I mean, I just completely pulled that out.
Kind of
my
like gun
arse.
game.
Gun game?
Yeah, like where you, I guess. No, there's a Call of Duty mode where if you get a kill with a gun, you get a better gun, and then you kind of power up.
But the idea
Okay.
of transfer.
I
But
Super-
have to
anyway,
go on
slow
the
mover.
record here. Gun game is a Counter-Strike thing first. I
Okay,
don't know how
that's
it became
fine.
a Call of Duty thing.
Call of Duty just introduced something called gun game.
No, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But it
way
was
back
in
in the day,
Counter-Strike,
it was a mod for Counter-Strike called Gun Game, where
Oh,
that was
cool.
exactly the thing. You started with a pistol, you killed someone, and you got a better pistol.
Maybe
You worked
they
your way-
hired that modder.
You
for
worked your
Call of
way
Duty.
all the way through the guns, and then the last level was knife. And it was the hardest one because it's hard to knife someone.
Yeah.
If you get knifed, you lose 3 levels. You go back 3
wow.
guns. And if you knife someone, you jump forward 3 levels. So
Oh,
it's
that's
like
cool.
it was a real fun mod. And then they made it official in CSGO. It's now not called Gun Game anymore. It's just called Arms Race. But it bums me out.
Because
It-
Call of Duty
no,
copywrote it.
It bums me out when people are like, gun game's a Call of Duty thing. I'm like, no, it is not.
They
Just
did it
like when
first.
when people are like, Dota's a Valve thing. I was like,
Some-
nope. Blizzard thing.
Something like that in Destiny would be really fun, though.
Oh yeah,
You know?
totally. I don't know if there's enough guns to sort of warrant a progression, like gameplay mechanics based on progression of guns. But like, I think a mode where you're always switching weapons would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like maybe you have to melee someone first in order to be able to use your primary, and then you get access to your special, and then you get heavy type
Right, I
thing.
see.
Did you guys ever
interesting.
play? Did you guys ever play any of the doubles when Destiny was doing that?
Yeah, I mean, whenever
Yeah.
the playlist pops, I do regular doubles. Like
I never did it.
it's fun. Like
Yeah.
it's just 2v2s, you know. But like, that's what I want to know
not a
is like
camping.
how this is different. How the Starcross or Crimson doubles is different than just regular doubles.
Yeah, I hopped into the mode where they turn off your radar, and I didn't like that very much. It's just
Inferno.
shotgun fun.
No, it's cool,
Yeah.
man. Like,
I kind of like Inferno.
I like
well,
it.
think about
gets-
how you play
I
Destiny
played it a few
PvP
times, and I
now.
was like, I'm good.
Like when you play PvP in Destiny now, it's highly mobile classes, right? Running around, and you're just looking for pings on your radar,
Yeah,
right?
constantly.
And then as soon as you see one, that's when you're actually looking at your screen trying to find where they are. In Inferno Clash or Inferno whatever, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? You have to like
You're
about to go out a door, you stop and you're like
Yeah.
looking out both ways.
You're constantly
like
spinning around.
yeah, like double checking your corners, like checking your six. Like I think it's a lot of fun.
I like it a lot. It's
Yeah.
a slower game though, and I think
Oh, yeah.
that's what I'm actually kind of expecting out of this mode. But we'll see. So yeah, I mean, did you have any ideas what you want it to be, Destin? Like maybe they use the tether or something.
Yeah,
that's kind of a.
I kind of
couples
like
thing.
the idea of you getting a boost when you're next to your partner, whoever it may be, you know. And I don't know what the boost would look like. Maybe like more damage resistance or a little bit more damage dealing. But it would force people to stick together and go through the map as a group, you know. But it also keeps you together as a group, making you more vulnerable to supers, etc.
Nice.
Or heavy ammo. But I'm kind of interested in it.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to be. Something pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Something that encourages you just to stick with your partner because they're your lover. You know, you want to be close to them.
Exactly.
Of course.
So, Destin, what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
I have no idea.
Just had
No.
a question. It seems stupid.
Oh,
But I was
yeah.
wondering, would you want to play together?
Yeah.
You would?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Sounds fun.
I mean, cool if you want to.
He's your PvP Valentine.
Aw.
Perfect.
So
Maybe we'll
sweet.
have to stream that then.
Speaking of PvP, we want to talk about our feelings, but in a different way. How do you feel about Iron Banner being rift this time around?
It's funny. I remember us
Yeah.
talking about it before.
Yeah.
Of like, are they just going to try out Rift next or
Yeah.
whatever? And here it is.
I like Rift as a mode. I think it's fun. Like,
As a mode, but Iron Banner, where your power matters, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I don't think it changes it at all.
I don't think it will matter that
yeah,
much.
like, does Clash or Control very differently? Like, is it very different than regular in? Oh my God, this is the worst sentence I've ever
What?
put together in my life.
It's been a rough week.
Yeah, it really has. Is Clash or Iron Banner drastically different in Crucible than it is in regular? No, I don't find it to
Yeah,
be the
people's
case. So
Levels are coming up so much at this
yeah,
point.
my
that-
instinct is like, it's not going to actually change Iron Banner much or Rift much.
I took a peek at Reddit to kind of gauge their feelings about it. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound very fun for Iron Banner. Like, because you're just kind of, it's either going to be really fast matches Like they're going to go by really quickly, or very
Or
long,
XP.
or very long and drawn out. You don't get more XP for taking longer in an Iron Banner match, though.
No, he's saying
but if you
finish more
finish
faster,
games
play more
faster,
matches.
play more matches, you gain rep faster.
But you're gonna have a really good team to do that.
Yeah, sure.
It's gonna be kind of interesting. Reddit seems very down on the idea. They think it's an awful thing.
Reddit down on an idea?
Yeah,
That's never happened
well,
before.
and their reasoning is kind
So
of sound.
optimistic.
They've been encountering a lot of players that have a certain loadout where it's just very difficult to defeat them. So it
You
sounds
mean an entire team of 6?
yeah,
Is what they're
entire
talking
team
about?
of 6. So for solo players, this is going to be a disaster.
Yeah,
but
get 6 warlocks with all Void Fang and Burn, and literally just wait for the spark and throw a bunch of grenades at it and go in and get it. No, I'm joking, but they want us to try a different mode. Like we all kind of complained about Clash, right? It was the last time. And Control's better. Like I do think Control's probably the most optimized match for this type of thing because it keeps people together in places.
I've said it before. I think Control's the best mode in Destiny because like it gives you, even if you're not actively fighting someone, it gives you an opportunity to be contributing to your team, right?
that's what we played in the beta and alpha.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I love Rift too because it's a different type of gameplay. It's a different type of like teamwork that you have to do. Like even just if you're fighting against a team that knows what they're doing, a team of 6, even just picking up the spark is tough, right? Because they have 2 people watching it, 2 people trying to snag it, and you're all just like kind of fighting around this singular point. Picking it up is difficult. Once you have it, then trying to break down their defense when they can see you and know where you're coming and have good enough communications to shift, that's also really fun. And you feel, at least I do, very accomplished when you do score. So I don't mind. Like if the complaint is that, oh, it's not great for solo players, I'm sorry, dude. Iron Banner isn't for solo players.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because for me, first of all, do you really want to keep playing the same match types over and over again?
For Iron Banner, I do. I think
do?
I would rather
why?
keep it
Yeah.
Control because that's what it was built for. I'm fine with trying some other modes once in a while. Like maybe once a month they do it, or no, Iron Banner is only once a month already.
Yeah.
So
Once a year.
I don't know.
Once a
in a while, but I really don't think Rift is going to go well for Iron Banner. I think it's going to be a lot of, because like the way the bounties are set up, they're all set up for control.
You know what? I like that they're forcing you to even let's say I don't play a ton of Rift. I like the idea that it will force me to get a team together and strategize and play another team who's probably doing the same and just try something different, and it definitely will spin you on your head if you don't play that a lot. I mean, I think it could actually bring more players to Rift. Like so I think it's good
football in
sense.
Destiny, man. Like it's fun.
Yeah.
I actually
Capture
like
the flag.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I've
It's not
always
capture the flag, but
it's very close.
Rugby.
It's football.
I've always
Offense,
kind of
defense,
I've
yeah.
always
It's
kind of
XFL.
liked I've always kind of liked Capture the Flag, but never been a huge fan. So for me, Rift is probably one of my less enjoyed gameplay modes. Like Mayhem's pretty fun because you get all your supers, but yeah, I don't know. So I'm not really that excited about it.
Okay.
I don't want
Would
to
you
say
ra-
it's bad.
Would you rather play Mayhem for Iron Banner?
Iron
Is that
Banner,
what you're
no.
saying? Okay.
No.
Oh,
So you're
God.
literally
That-
saying you just want it to be the same.
Yeah, I like
Almost
Control.
all the time.
I like Control. I don't think Rift is good for this mode. I don't think it's going to be a good experience just because of the way the bounties are set up right now. They would have to revamp the bounty system to be more
But there's no difference in the
useful
modes,
for
right?
the Rift.
Like you say, like Iron Banner, it doesn't work for Iron Banner because it's different. But like how? It's not really. It's still.
I mean, Rift
6v6.
is still exactly. Yeah.
It's six-
I think
well, I
he's just
guess
saying
it's-
the bounty.
like what is like
progression.
how does Control differ in just regular Control PvP Crucible versus in Iron Banner? It doesn't. It's the same game. So like why would Rift change because it's Iron Banner? Like you saying Rift isn't good for Iron Banner.
Because the bounties are set up for Control.
But I mean, they can change the boundaries.
They're
and
not going to though. Not
so
yet. Yeah.
you bring up probably the most interesting point. Are they going to change bounties?
No,
for
they
this?
didn't last time. They'll keep them the same. And last time it was kind of difficult to get some of the bounties, you know. And I think they're gonna find that people have a little bit of a problem unlocking the bounties for these different game modes as they're trying them out. We'll see.
Like which ones, you know, are going to be more problematic. But you do raise a good point. It would be nice if they had like a specific, like you have to hold the spark for a certain amount of times or something.
I'm sure it'll be that, like pick up the spark 3 times or something.
They're not
like
going to
that.
do that though. They didn't change it last time. Why would they change it this time? Do you
Does
think they will?
require extra work.
But I mean,
They'd have to recode this whole section of Destiny, and I don't think Bungie's going to do that. I think they're trying out Rift to see if people like it or don't. You know.
Well,
yeah, but I mean,
we'll
I
wait
don't
and
think
see.
you're going to pick up the Iron Bounty Bounters and it'll be like, capture 3 points. And you're like, well, I can't do that because it's Rift.
Well, yeah, it
Like,
won't
I don't
be.
think it'll be like that.
That's
They've
true. But
never done that though. That's not what it is for capture.
But didn't it change? Didn't the bounties change when it changed from Clash to Control?
No, it
well,
didn't.
here's the big question. Since I don't play Rift a lot, are there Crucible bounties for Rift?
You can
Yes.
just use
get
those.
There
Crucible
are.
bounties,
See, they'll just
yeah.
use those.
They're not going to change them. They didn't change them
No,
last
they won't
time
change
swapped
them, but they'll probably, in the same way they do with
in
Control,
the future, like
they'll,
further out.
they'll just use one of the Rift bounties that is already developed for that.
Well, what I'm saying is last time when they did Clash for Iron Banner, they didn't change any of the bounties. All the bounties remain the same. So they're going to remain the same for Rift. That's all I'm saying. There's no reason they would change it this time, but not last time.
I mean, it's not hard to. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what specifically bounty, like which bounty specifically would be difficult because of the mode, and I'm not
Like
really
matches
coming
played, total points, and
Yeah, there's one where it's like you
Yeah.
have to kill. What is it? 10 guardians in a life 5 times or something like that, or 5 guardians 10
5
times.
guardians,
Yeah, that's like
think.
maybe that would be harder because. But I don't know. You're still getting a lot of kills in Rift.
just you
Well,
can sit
maybe-
on the highway where people running and just shoot them.
Or shoot at the like just guard the
At
spark
the
the,
spark,
whole
yeah.
time.
We'll have
I
to.
don't think it's going to be a huge issue on the bounty side, but
We'll have to see when it actually comes up. I don't think Rift is going to be very fun in Iron Banner, but I also don't like Rift very much. So
yeah. Again,
That's
it's
where I'm coming
interesting
from.
that I don't play Rift a lot. I don't really have a desire to.
I like
mean, I
Rift.
like to mix it
I
up
think it's
occasionally.
fun.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's fun, but I don't know. There's just something about it. I just don't play it a lot. So
Like-
I like that
Well,
it's
the-
forcing me to do it. I think
what
it's
the
good.
community is saying is literally Rift is the worst possible thing they could have picked for Iron Banner. Out of all the modes, Rift is the
Because-
I'm
worst.
pretty sure you could find 100 posts that say that exact thing about anything Bungie's ever tried.
Yeah,
This is the worst thing they could have done.
Yeah,
I'm
possibly.
gonna go out and put the best thing.
Possibly,
they could
I'm
have
just
done.
trying to kind of represent what the community is saying. That's
true,
all,
yeah.
guys,
So,
and
no,
you
I-
guys aren't at all.
No, absolutely, but not.
Yeah.
But you feel similarly, obviously. It's,
Well,
Yeah,
I
I have a bad feeling about this. Don't think it's going to go well. I mean, yeah, sure, you have access to all your same weapons
Again, I'm
and
just
everything.
trying to
but
quantify it. Like
it's forcing you to one point. It's all point based on an orb. It's just a little different. It's not kill based. You know?
so, teams that get together and communicate are going to steamroll you. Is
That's
what I
what's-
think.
That's what's so cool is like you could be a great team at killing people, right? But suddenly that's not the most important thing.
You have
like
to protect
one,
someone.
One Rift score counts. It's like 2,500 points or 3,000 points or something like that.
all the bounties are kill based though. None of them are get a.
but you can still get kills.
Yeah.
So
And
don't.
kills are
I think it's
still
going to be a
effective.
lot
But that's the
harder
point.
to
You
get.
can't always be the runner. Like if you know what I mean. So I don't know. I think it's going to be fine.
I don't
see.
pretend to talk like speak for the community. I only ever speak for myself when I'm just for the record. But like I don't know. While there's probably some valid concerns in the community about how Rift is going to translate to the Iron Banner gameplay, I don't think it's actually going to be that big of a deal because the gameplay mode doesn't change all that much and it works really well in regular Crucible.
Which
Why
gameplay
wouldn't
mode
it
doesn't?
work? Rift.
But Iron Banner was a gameplay mode built around control.
You're saying that from a bounties perspective. Like
I was before. Now I'm just saying Iron Banner was built for control, and now they're trying out different modes. I
Well,
think Rift is going to be a bad mode.
you
for
say
Iron
Banner was built for control, but what about Iron
Yeah,
Banner works better in control than it does without Iron Banner?
Well,
Like,
I
it's
think
the same.
I
It's
think
just
it's,
still
I think
controlling
I think
6
a
points or
team
3
that
points.
had a year and a half or however long they worked on just building Iron Banner for
that long.
one gameplay mode type. Well, this is before launch.
Yeah, I know.
It didn't come out until months after launch, so they were working on it through the whole development cycle. And now, 2 years into the game's post-launch, they're looking at trying other
Mixing it up,
modes
sure.
with it.
I get it, but I'm just
so-
trying to quantify the effect, right? It's like what it's like this. Yeah, I'm not even gonna. I was gonna mention
gameplay-
microtransactions, but let's come back to that topic another time.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
remembering after that topic, everybody was skewering me. But well, okay, no. Now that I put it out there, I'll use the example. Like quantify the actual problem. Microtransactions will break the game. Some could. The current level boosters are not. We'll come back to that another time. But using this as an example, like, is it really gonna break Iron Banner?
No, I just
You're
think it's
saying
not
you don't
gonna be
like it.
fun.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
in what way is it so bad? That's what Sean and I think are getting at.
Like, I don't think the
you
game-
have to play Rift. If you don't like Rift, you're right. It is going to be the worst mode for you. But otherwise, I think it'll be fine.
I think it's going to be harder to get kills because teams are just going to like sit way back. They're not going to come out. You don't force them out into the open, onto the points like Control does. And all the bounties are built around getting kills. So it's going to be really bad. It forces you into one middle point where maybe one person will go out and everybody else will sit back. You know?
I don't know.
I think it's going to
That's
be
what Rift
weird.
is.
It's not what Iron Banner is, though, or what Iron Banner was built around.
Yeah. So you say. I don't know that they ever have said that Iron Banner was built around.
They didn't.
Control.
They built.
It's
they
level-based.
launched it around Control for a year and a half.
But it's level-based gameplay. They chose Control because Control is the most popular match type, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
They just chose the most popular match type. But anyway, I mean, I do think you make good points. It could force us into playing, a lot of this one mode that you like. I wouldn't want to play Mayhem if it was Mayhem. I mean, I'd still play it. It'd be okay, but I wouldn't want to play that much Mayhem. And I think maybe that's where a lot of the feedback's coming from. There's some people who just do not want to play that much Rift.
We'll have to see how it goes.
I have
I'm sure
4 bounties from last round that I didn't use, so I turned those in on Saturday or Sunday.
I'm sure the multiplayer guys over at Bungie internally play tested it. It must have been okay. So maybe the community is overreacting a little.
Testing works great. Sunbreakers work great.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
The final
Good
topic
points.
we have a few minutes left. We kind of wanted to talk about an article that was released early today that the community is kind of chattering about how
Malaise.
About overall malaise about Destiny and how Destiny 2 is rumored to be not
not announced.
Some context.
Not announced, yeah.
Some
kind
context.
of is. I mean,
This morning, someone tweeted at Destin, Fran, and me that...
And it's also on the front page of Reddit. It's kind of what the community's talking about
Sure,
today.
but
yeah,
this is how-
Kotaku put up an
Sure,
editorial
yeah.
report.
Yeah, this was a news article that Kotaku put up basically saying that Destiny 2 has been delayed. And they tweeted this at us. That's how we got wind of it. That's all I'm saying for context. Now it's on the front page of IGN and the community is chattering about it. But yeah, it's basically an editorial, maybe even a long-form news article talking about how Destiny's entered this slow period and that the hardcore Destiny players not only are not getting new content, but don't know what's coming, when in previous years of Destiny, we've kind of had a roadmap, right?
Yeah, that was the whole point of the article, is
Yeah.
that there's a continuation of we don't know what's coming. The announcement for Crimson Doubles was not that, more info on the roadmap. And according to a source, Destiny 2, which was planned for maybe September or something, was delayed.
So, according to a source who said internally they planned on releasing it in September, never public knowledge.
Yeah.
They're not doing that.
Yeah,
now, but they've never publicly
Destiny
said
2
anything. You can't delay a product if it hasn't even been announced
Well, that's
yet.
why I thought
It's vague. It's
Destin's response on Twitter was funny, which is how can a non-announced game be delayed?
But the
Yeah.
whole thing is based on a source. My actual, look, the report's fine, but it was thrown in there in the way that I was Jason wrote it from Kotaku. I think the point of his article, he set out to actually just talk about this malaise.
Yeah.
But then he throws in, as an example, a source has said, Destiny 2 was planned for September and it's delayed. Moving on. But that was a huge piece of information that, if somewhat verifiable and according to a specific source, it would have been better to break it out, that's all.
Yeah,
and so I think that's where it's
wasn't that in his
causing...
piece?
I don't know, and that's why I don't, I'm not saying that it's not happening. I mean, who knows? That's what his source says. But usually it helps, too, if you can say your source works at Activision. Your source is actually working on the game. Or your source is in the development community, but we don't have any of that information.
Well, he did say a source close to Bungie.
development. Yeah, but
To
that's
develop-
literally
to
he,
development.
he lives in a tent
Yeah.
down the street. Who knows?
But,
Yeah.
but the point, and it may be very a good source, but what I'm saying is the way it's reported leaves a lot to interpretation. And I think maybe he was even uncomfortable really putting that out there with the level of info, but now it is out there because you put it in there.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, Destiny 2's delayed, but I
Yeah.
guarantee you, much like The Taken King came out, there will be a release around September, October in the same fashion. I think it's that we all want something big.
In September.
And we just don't know, and that's the whole point of this. How big is it going to be, and how much are they pushing around? And same thing with the source, right? The source may be getting information that is now also out of context because that could be old. Who
It was
knows?
pretty weak, and there's been a few times where these Kotaku articles have come out, and they're like, why isn't this on IGN yet? And it's kind of like, well, because we like to vet sources. And the only source here is somebody close to Bungie that only Jason knows.
Yeah. Well, you have to be careful of fanning
yeah.
flames,
Yeah.
Like I've reported a lot of stuff in the past, when I used to be on GameCube and N64, we would get information, a random email. Hey, I work at this developer. This is going down. And you're like, I could have been Sean setting up a fake email.
Yeah.
By the way.
And it was.
It
I'm
was.
just
It
kidding.
wasn't Sean, but it was somebody else who did that to try to. I
Try
don't
and
think
trick
that's
you.
the case. Jason's a lot smarter than that.
Yeah.
But point is, sources are important, and depends on the level of closeness they have to the game.
Yeah.
That was what was interesting about the report. It was there are people inside Bungie who don't know what's happening. So literally saying, even if this person worked at Bungie, they might be out of the loop.
Yeah.
So the point is, we don't know it's coming. I agree, though. Man, we need a roadmap.
That's what I was
agree
gonna
it's
say.
annoying.
The overall piece was about the overall malaise.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was driving at, is like all of the specifics that Reddit and that the community of Guardians is talking about in that article is all stuff that I dismissed immediately outright of reading the article. Stuff like, my source says, well, I don't know your source. Like, your source could be total nonsense. Like, I just dismiss it as that because I'm that type of person where if it's not immediately... Well, no, if it's just not immediately verifiable to me, then why would I believe it, right? So, but the article does still raise the point that we are in this very sort of strange, like, relationship with Bungie and Activision where we've kind of come to expect knowing what's coming down the pipeline when even Bungie doesn't really know what's coming down the pipeline. And it's caused a lot of friction between the community of Bungie and Activision.
They do know what's coming down the pipeline. It's hitting the landmarks and milestones.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes games change direction.
Well, yeah, and the article brings that up, which is like they have goals and Activision has milestones that Bungie needs to try and hit. But like you pointed out, stuff switches on the fly all the time. Game dev is a difficult thing to kind of predict, and a lot of times they just don't want to put information out there that they're not sure they're going to be able to deliver on. And that's the key part of the article, is like
for
this ambiguity.
The thing that was shocking to me was Jason said Destiny 2 is delayed, and that was just very surprising to me. I'm like, they've never said Destiny 2 was coming. Yeah. They never put a release date out there. So you like,
but that's according to his sources, and that's where again the context. I think he really just meant to throw it in as like, I kind of know this is happening. But didn't intend it to have that big of an effect. But unfortunately, you can't drop that.
You can't
that bomb.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. I mean, I've never been editorial at IGN, and even I know that like you put out X game is delayed, like that's a huge headline. You can't put up that not knowing it's not going to have an effect.
I'm not sure how it slipped through. I mean, we shouldn't tear apart Jason's work here. His points are good. I think, again, hopefully his intention was just like, he was just stating some facts he kind of knew. Maybe he forgot that he didn't tell anybody this. Yeah. And no, like I was looking for the link for a while. Like, where was this original report?
Yeah, there were some other things in there too about like Zur 9 thing.
The Dares of the Nine.
Dares of the Nine. I'm like, wait. I don't remember hearing about this.
Again, throwing in more info that this source or sources have given.
He did clarify that was speculation, though. Speculative.
No, he was saying he was speculating on the release timelines and if they'll ever bring it back. But again, dropped info that there was apparently some mode that was using missions and strikes to do time-based Dares of the Nine quests, like do this thing by this time, that got scrapped. There, by the way, it's probably true. And there's
we kind of talked about something.
Of those things.
We talked about something very similar last week that Datto does, or not Datto, More Console did with the 9 challenges for you to get the 9 pieces of exotics. I thought maybe he was talking about that.
Maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to first of all, let's talk the next Destiny. I do think it's like.
It's coming. They made enough money on Destiny 1. They will release a Destiny 2.
But what is Destiny 2? I think we all have our version of it. Some people, like me, probably it's a total new engine, or evolved engine, reboot, takes us off of old gen, right? Brings us something new. So maybe is getting pushed. But whatever the case, this September, you can be assured, or October, whenever it is, there's a raid in development. It's coming. I'm positive. This is not according to a source, but like I think that's where we need to separate.
We're speculating now.
Separate our viewpoints. Like more content in a big way is coming. I have no doubt. This is a cash cow. Bungie is a huge studio, but development complications, maybe whatever the initial plans have got morphed again in the same way that Taken King got morphed. You know, I mean, that's just what happens with these types of games. Like look at Overwatch today. That was basically pieces of Titan, right? You know, which Blizzard had in development for years, and then it got scrapped in a new game. I mean, different story, but the point is that's natural. But
that's what's happening internally at Bungie right now, according to his sources, and that's pretty normal.
That
actually,
totally could be made up.
Yeah, but my point is the next
putting it out.
But the next Destiny release, September, October, is not scrapped and not coming. There will be something significant. I'm confident,
and there will be a Destiny 2.
And whatever Destiny 2 may be, maybe that got pushed out, but we know nothing about it. Really. But we should dig in and see what we can find out.
I'd love to hear an update from Jason, actually, on this piece. That's all we have time for today. Fran, you got any plugs for us?
Yes, as always, be sure to get in the comments, talk about Destiny with like-minded fans. We all hate seeing people still play this game. That'll be out there. But talk about what you want to see in the Iron Banner, what you want to see with the new updates. Do you think it has been too long without a roadmap for Destiny? We want to hear about it and talk about it on the next show. Drop us a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to us, or a thumbs up on whatever video platform you may be watching on. And as always, thanks for letting us do our thing. It's slow times in Destiny, but we're still here, and we'll be back every week.
All right. Thanks, Fran. Guys, until next time, Guardians out.